Hello there, everyone. If you're watching this video, then you are part of the TTOR army, an army that is building itself up one subscriber at a time. And before we get into the topic of today's video, today I need to mention to you something very important, and that something is called Quarter. Quarter is an open source alt-tech alternative to YouTube that I founded about 16 months ago, roughly, and it has all the features you would expect on a site like YouTube. Full HD videos, including 4K capacity, live streaming, free restreaming, public playlists, an easy-to-use comment moderation system. All that fun stuff. You'll also find on Quarter features that you will not find on YouTube, such as Quarter Bucks, which is an insight currency that you use to promote your individual videos or your entire channel on the front page of the website. There's also live video chat rooms where you can do video chats with friends, family, co-workers, etc., or followers and fans, and you can live stream to your channel from these rooms. There's also articles that you can write, and there's an articles tab that will show up on your channel when you start writing articles on Quarter. Basically, think YouTube community posts, except way more robust, and you can do a lot more with it, including embedding videos not just from Quarter, but other sites as well, if you so desire. So there's a lot of good reasons to use Quarter in terms of features and functionality, but the most important reason to use Quarter is because we honor freedom of speech in action, not just word. The things that you cannot talk about on YouTube, you can talk about on Quarter with no fear of repercussions, no fear of your video being taken down or your channel getting banned or anything like that. So if you're a freedom of speech advocate, or you just want another cool place to put your content besides YouTube or Rumble or anything else like that, come to Quarter today. Now that you know about Quarter, let's get into the topic of today's video, which is how X, formerly known as Twitter, is actually going to ban people in the future for being commercially inviolable. Now, how did I find out about this? Well, we got this X post from reclaimthenet.org where they say, new X terms to start in September, including the old Twitter clause that it can ban you for being commercially inviolable. Now, we could read the screenshot that reclaimthenet.org shows here, but I wanted to be a boss, and so I went to the actual terms of service for X. And this is what you see when you go to "We have broad enforcement rights." X reserves the right to take enforcement actions against you if you do violate these terms, such as, for example, removing your content, limiting visibility, discontinuing your access to X, or taking legal action. We may also suspend or terminate your account for other reasons, such as prolonged inactivity, risk of legal exposure, or commercial inviolability. That's right, if your X account is commercially inviolable, or it's not a viable channel as far as advertising goes, quote unquote, X reserves the right to ban you for that reason. Now, this is not the first time that a big tech platform has done something like this. Back in 2019, I put out a video on my BitChute channel called "YouTube Will Now Ban Channels That Are Not Commercially Viable." And it was responding to YouTube's new terms of service change back in November of 2019, where they announced that they were going to reserve the right to ban you off their website if you weren't commercially viable. And in the video, you can see me talking about it, but just for a quick time's sake, let's go to the actual terms of service YouTube page I was responding to, which if you start from the top, and you go all the way down to the section that is titled Account Suspension and Termination, you read a little subsection called Termination by YouTube for Service Changes. And it says, YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all or part of the service if YouTube believes in its sole discretion that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. So back in 2019, YouTube deemed that channels that were no longer commercially viable, we'll just delete them off the site. Here we are in 2023, and X, formerly known as Twitter, is doing the very same thing. Instead of saying, oh, we'll terminate your account if your channel is not commercially viable, X says, we will terminate your account for other reasons such as commercial inviability. Tomato, tomato, it's the same thing, just worded ever so slightly differently. But this is not surprising that X is doing this because recently it was documented by reclaimthenet.org that the ex-CEO, Linda Yaccarino, who is part of the World Economic Forum, by the way, and was appointed CEO by Elon Musk, she was consulting with the ADL on how to address hate on the platform. Now, the ADL, among other organizations, is one of the big organizations that's against hate or hate speech, and they basically tell big tech platforms what to do in terms of censorship, and big tech platforms comply. So naturally, what I've been noticing over time is that after Elon Musk bought Twitter and rebranded it as X, and after he claimed Twitter was going to be a free speech site, and he got all the conservative movement people, like all the popular content creators and influencers in the conservative movement, after he got them to recommit to Twitter and then rebranded Twitter as X, he literally turned the platform over to be run by someone from the World Economic Forum, and they in turn are bringing back all of the old censorship technologies and policies that the previous Twitter management was employing. Basically, Elon Musk got the sheeple to come back into the pen, promising the pen was different, and now the pen is exactly like what was before when everyone was leaving it to go use alternatives like Gab and Getter and Truth Social, etc. With X going back to being Twitter 1.0, and with sites like Gab and Getter dying and Parler being offline, we need an alternative to X as far as social media sites go. And fortunately for you guys, I have an alternative to X and Facebook, and basically any of the alt-tech social medias that are dying off. That alternative is called Creation Social. Creation Social is an open source alt-tech alternative to Facebook and Gab that I started back on December 26, 2021. The site is really stagnant in its growth right now, but we do have 800 some registered users on the site. I think we're close to 900 actually. So there are some people on Creation Social, and it's got pretty good features and functionality as it is, as far as having groups you can post in, there's games you can play, you can write blog posts, there's a marketplace where you can buy and sell items, there's group chats that you can create, and there's also things like, pictures on posts, and you can tag people in posts, you can put emojis on there, you can even change the background color of your posts like you can on Facebook. All that fun stuff. So there's plenty of good reasons to use Creation Social now, but I'm currently working on upgrading the site script behind the scenes so that I can roll out a whole bunch more features that will make Creation Social a very viable platform if you're looking for things to do. But if you want freedom of speech and you're tired of the censorship on Facebook and X, and you see that Gab and Getter and other such sites are dying off, I'd recommend that you get onto Creation Social today.